Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. We are back on the dev server, and in this video we're going to have a look at the ground changes to the pre-existing vehicles. So in the other video we had a look at the new vehicles, and we'll have a look at some more in the future, but in this video specifically it is about the ones that are already in the game. So as always, if you enjoy the content, make sure to subscribe and also like the video. Here we go. The first one is kind of funny. So there are certain vehicles in the game: the PBV 501, the vehicle you can see in front of you, the SDKFC 222s, and also the 15cm SLG 33B SFL, basically the funny, donk cannon from the Germans, and also the M8 LAC. For some reason, they had a battle cruise control that has now been removed for them. Basically, the battle cruise control was one that ATGM launcher vehicles have, which if they have like a limitation on when they're able to fire their ATGM, so maybe they have to be like below 5 kilometers an hour or something, you would be able to have this battle cruise control so you could still move, but also use your missile. For some reason, these vehicles, including this one, which don't have missiles, also had it. So they've now fixed it. Another little change is the XM1 Chrysler. What they've done with that one is they've actually reduced its weight. It's basically been on the Ozempic. It's gone from 52.6 tons to 52.16. So it's obviously now off the Ozempic, so it didn't lose too much. And then also what they did is for the M41D, they ended up fixing its muzzle flash. This vehicle has actually got a host of changes more recently, which has been kind of funny. But what they've done is they've been able to make it so the muzzle flash works properly, which is kind of nice. Now, another thing, while we're here, that they've actually changed graphically, which will mainly affect ground, is the way that you deal with trees. So trees have been a burden for a lot of people for a long time. And what you can do now is, depending on where you shoot the tree, the rest of it will kind of like cut it in half and it will fold over. So if I shoot the tree here with a big enough round, you can see that the top of the tree has actually fallen down and it's left a hole where it was before. So what this means is you can actually technically chop a tree in half. Instead of just have the weird branches and everything else fall down, it actually looks like you have cut the tree where the round has gone through, which I think, it's kind of hard to see, but you'll see it when it comes to the game. And if you aim like that, for some reason it misses. But depending on what caliber of gun that you use, it will obviously affect it in different ways. But I think that's actually pretty sick. It's one of those which is very random, but it's just a nice little thing to see from a graphics point of view. Talking about another vehicle that has changed in weight, the Jagdpanzer 38T, so the Hetzer basically. This vehicle has now gone up in weight. It was 15.8 and now it's 16 tons, so it'll be a little bit slow around the place. They've also fixed the tracks on the Skink. The Skink is obviously a vehicle that's kind of all over the place now, with the premium vehicle coming in for it and also being in the American and the British tech tree. But there was a problem with its tracks. They just didn't work properly, but now they've actually fixed it. Before, there was actually some gaps between the track links, so it looked really weird when it was moving around. Another thing they've also fixed is the M728 and the Mark V Avery, the Centurion. For some reason, these two vehicles have continuously had problems with their Dozer blade. Basically, the modification just would not function properly. And this has actually, as I said, been like an ongoing thing with these things, where they fix it for a little bit and then it breaks for a little bit. But now it should work with the vehicle. And that obviously means that you'll be able to do your engineering duty a little bit easier if you decide to use the good old potato launcher. Really don't like the potato launchers, by the way. Not a huge fan. What I am a huge fan of, though, is the Conqueror. The Conqueror is a super fun vehicle, and if you've never played it, highly recommend it, apart from the overpressure point on the top, which is annoying. But one of the things they've done with the Conqueror, as you can see, is they've increased its horsepower. So before it was 810, now it's 821. Another vehicle they've also changed, which is probably the one which has annoyed millions of people when it comes to War Thunder, is the Falcon. The Falcon, instead of having 620 rounds, it now has 680, which means that it has more of that wonderful APDS round, which, as I said, everybody absolutely loves. Another thing that they've also done is they have increased the turret rotation speed. So before, it was 80 degrees traverse and then 40 degrees basically vertical. Now it is 90 degrees per second horizontal and 50 degrees per second on the vertical. So this thing is going to just move around at a hell of a pace while you're able to kind of shoot everything that's around the place. So this vehicle, after being nerfed a few times in terms of its BR and in terms of other factors, it has now been buffed twice in the same update. So good luck against that. It's always very annoying facing it. Another thing that has also been changed on the Falcon is its armor. They have done a full change on it. So basically the turret armor is now 20 millimeters, as you can see here. Before it was 10 millimeters, and then the side is now 15 instead of 10 millimeters. And the roof is now 15 when before it was 6. And they've also changed the hull floor armor as well, which is now going to be around about 20. So this is going to be harder to kill. You're not going to be able to machine gun basically the turret from the front now. So when a Falcon looks at you, you're going to have to hit it with your main gun most of the time. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to pen. And that is really, really annoying. The Shigla, basically the ZSU 23M4, is it? Yeah, the 4M4. So this one, they corrected the ammo box on it, so now it works properly. And another thing they also did to this vehicle is they added the 9M342, but this actually came in with the BR changes. So this came in beforehand, but if you missed it, that's basically what they've done with it. Another really cool change to one of my favorite vehicles, the Hellcat, which is in the game. This one, once again, is kind of across the board, but in every version of the Hellcat, they've changed the commander. So you know before, the commander was stuck out the top of the Hellcat? Well, guess what? He's still stuck out the top, but what he does now, which is really cool, is he goes 360. So before, he didn't go 360. But now he can go all the way back here if he wants to, and he can basically fight from all angles, which I think is pretty sick. So there you go. He doesn't have to always be pointing kind of similarly to the front. He can just be all over the place and engage stuff from pretty much any angle. The Boxer MGS and also the CTCV, if you don't know these vehicles, they're absolutely massive. They're both the kind of event vehicles. You have the Boxer, which is right here, and then the CTCV is over here. And what they've done with these is the third-person camera is a little bit higher. This is actually a huge buff to any light vehicle because, first of all, it means that you can see more instead of just the vehicle, and at the same time, it means that you are able to see targets better, so you can scout better. And that is a huge thing for these things because obviously a lot of the time when you're using it, you want to try and engage as many targets as you can, and having, you know, the ability to see more stuff is only going to be a positive, and that gives you just kind of a larger kind of top-down field of view, which will help you quite a lot. They also fixed a lot of AAs. Basically, there was a ton of them, which some of them don't even make any sense. So for a start, you have stuff like the Ocelot, the Type 81C, the Azrad, the LVKV, right? The LVRBV, I should say. These all had very low visibility parameters for some reason. Now, visibility affects how you can see a vehicle. You can see it on the stat card. It's something that is not really talked about a lot for some reason. But you can see, for some reason, they were really low on these and also low on the Itzver and the Chieftain Marksman. So now they're a lot higher, meaning that the Itzver will not just randomly appear in front of you anymore, and also you'll be able to hear it coming. Because one of the issues with sight is it's kind of linked to sound as well. So these things would just like fly around the map, and if you couldn't see them, you also couldn't hear them. And then they'll just appear on your side and then... And that was because they were bugged. So now this should be better, should make it a bit easier for everybody. And I think generally that's very positive. All of the kind of, let's call it like Soviet style MBTs, so like the T-72s, the T-90s, the T-80s, all of the Chinese ones like the VT4, the MB2000s, the TZ96, 99s, what they ended up happening to them is they now have a new fire control module. So they have this FCS, which is now put into the vehicle, which is kind of cool. Basically, they are not in right now, but if you actually destroy it, this should actually affect the tank's internal systems when trying to fire the gun. But right now, that doesn't actually happen. So just to say that they are here and they are working on it. Another thing that they're also doing is the elevation and the horizontal drive modules have been improved and refined on these vehicles, meaning that there is, a little bit more realism to them, which I think is kind of cool. And then they changed the autoloaders when it comes to Soviet vehicles, the T-72s, the T-90s, and then also the T-80s. So now the autoloaders, if I can remember which one it is, it's not that one, it's not that one, it's probably this one. You can see that they've actually added this arm to it. So if you actually hit the middle of the turret, so if you hit the breech, you'll also hit the autoloader, meaning that it will knock out both at the same time. So this is just another one of those changes that they've done to kind of update these models, but also nerf the vehicles at the same time, making them a little bit harder to use. So yeah, as things get more realistic, there's now more things that can get damaged, and that is going to make these vehicles a little bit harder to use. That's all of the standard changes coming for the ground stuff. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day. I'll see you next time.
I'd just like to thank GMG Smiley, CD Beans, Chieftain Mike, EMN3 Galaxy, Tulio Pontecorvo, Brendan Quinn, Carrion Crow, Gus Irenicus, Pyman, Wartinder, Teddy, Daniel Stanton, Martinez, B. Young, Ozzy Panzer, Alan Hacker, Liam Shear, Opium Prime, Lafouche, Sem, Aslan, Uncle Bean, and Derek R. for supporting the channel.